All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
All right, we are back again on the other side of the coin. It hasn't been too long since I left you guys. Wanted to do a bit of a news update. That's why there was an early stream. But of course, it's Friday, and we know it's always going to be preview day. We've heard Thomas Tuchel's press conference. I was actually looking at Arteta's press conference as well, but we're going to do an Arsenal special perspective preview tomorrow. You may see RJ there again. You probably might see Scott as well. And we'll see. We'll see what else happens. But that will be the more Arsenal-based perspective. But right here is about the Chelsea perspective. Obviously, Thomas Tuchel did the press conference, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to recap that. And then we're going to get into our, the importance of this match. We're obviously going to talk about how important this match is. And then what you always love, we're going to do the formation and the lineup builder, which is going to be very exciting to see exactly what you guys think should be the lineup as well, alongside us in the panel. It's always great to see what you guys are thinking as well. Please participate in the poll. We've got a poll up there. Are you expecting Romelu Lukaku to start versus Arsenal? Already 67% is saying yes, seems ready to be unleashed. 33% no, will come off the bench. 0% won't feature at all. So it's good to see that everyone thinks that he's going to feature in some way or form. Before I get on to shouting out the live chat, which I love doing always, I want to say big hello to my panelists. First of all, RJ, my man, how you doing?
Always a pleasure to talk Chelsea with you fine gents. And Ishan, as we said just before we went on to air, that this is our first time together. So hopefully the first of many, and we can bring lots of smiles with Chelsea's big win over Arsenal coming up, touch wood. For me personally, I've been very busy on the content front. Last night we had our IFT weekly Premier League show. I've been writing my articles this week and had my first one for Talk Chelsea released a few days ago. So that was a rewarding moment for me. And apart from that, it's just been focusing on trying to get to the game safely and hopefully not too many hiccups, boys. But yeah, looking forward to the discussion.
100% declared back-to-back streams. Yeah, baby, back-to-back streams for sure. I've got till Monday off. I've taken an annual day off on Monday to enjoy the game, of course, and enjoy the weekend, 100%. I mean, it's lockdown, so there's not much to do. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of streams, a lot of uploads. So stay tuned. You guys are going to get very, very entertained, undoubtedly. Ishan, my boy, how you doing?
No, I'm good, miss. Thank you for having me. And today, we've got RJ with us, the legend himself. So I'm elated and looking forward to the stream.
Absolutely. It's good to see you guys in a stream together. As you guys know, live chat, I love having conversations with RJ, and equally, I love having streams with Ishan. As you guys know, we've been doing a madness over this transfer window, Ishan and I. So it's great to have all of these people link up together. Before we get into the recap of the press conference and a whole heap of other conversations within this particular match preview, it's going to be a blockbuster match preview. Hopefully it's a blockbuster game as well. Massive shout out to the live chat. Nearly 50 of you guys live. First of all, smash the like buttons, guys. Get those likes up to well over 50 straight away. And if you're here for the first time, subscribe. I've just crossed 7,200 subscribers, I just noticed. So let's chase towards 8,000 very, very quickly. Let's get there. Let's get there very, very quickly. And we will get there. The only way to get there as quick as possible is with the likes. The likes generate the publicity for this particular channel. It will expose it to many other fans out there. So get those likes up to 50 straight away. And check out my panelists, and their socials are in the description. RJ is part of It's a Football Thing podcast. The YouTube channel link is literally there. All you got to do is just click on it. It will take you to the page, and you just got to subscribe. And both with Ishan and RJ, the link for their socials for Twitter is also there. Click on the link. We'll take you to the page, and you can follow. And for Ishan as well, the Instagram page is there. just click, it will take you there, and follow Ishan on Instagram. All right, Yusuf, my man, thank you so much for joining. Flyers, good to see you back again. All of these people were there in the initial stream. Come on, you Blues TV. Jake is here. I love it. Flyers, Tumo, Sila is here. Declan in Ireland is here. This is brilliant. I just can't say this name. But, brother, you do need to change that name up. Sorry, that's Ninga. Sorry, I was thinking some other stuff. So, yeah, Ninga132. Thank you so much for joining. Frederick, thank you so much for joining. Like was there in the initial stream. Shingo, thank you so much for joining. Izzy Tizzy is here. Quasi is here. Robbie is here. This is brilliant. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this show rock and rolling. Declared is here. My man Declared, thank you so much for joining, my man. All right, RJ, the first thing, as it was always going to be asked to Thomas Tuchel from the get-go, it was always going to be asked about Romelu Lukaku. And he was asked about whether, can we expect him to start? Let's start from there before we get into that whole, how much are we expecting in terms of the goals and whatnot. I mean, from your perspective, RJ, would it be a bit too premature for him to start in this particular game? Do you think he looks sharp enough to start? So why not get him started? Personally, I think he'll probably come off the bench, but I want to see what you have to say.
Yeah, sure. And we had a nice discussion last night with some other non-Chelsea related panelists on our pod. And my viewpoint, thanks, beautiful game, I'm with you, Miz, and perhaps it's the older conservative nature in me that likes to take our time to integrate big signings into the squad, not just big signings, any player, because as we all like to see with Tuchel, he's a tactician at heart. His systems take time to fully understand. And while I have no doubt about Lukaku's fitness, I've liked what I saw based on the training sessions that we were publicly available to see. I just think, is it sensible in this environment to start him knowing that we've already had a good 3-0 win against Palace? Arsenal aren't in the best situation despite playing well against us, it seems, at least of late. But why disrupt something that's working from the start when we can have the opportunity to integrate him in, hopefully sometime in the second half when we're in a good position and therefore there's no pressure. Now, I know you and I, Miz, we've spoken about on a pod recently that Romelu is someone that likes the pressure. He demands big on himself, and Tuchel alluded to that in his press conference. But I'm just of the view personally, why throw him in the deep end when the situation doesn't call for it? And I have faith in our other attacking options, although Pulisic being withdrawn now does add a little bit of unnecessary stress to that situation. But overall, personally speaking, I would start him from the bench. What do you boys think?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go to Ishan. Ishan, look, a lot of the live chat is saying, Romelu Lukaku definitely starts. I got saying Lukaku's clearly ready to start. Izzy Tizzy saying Rome defo starts. 2117 Legacy saying laugh my ass off. He will not come off the bench. Thomas Tuchel said in the press conference that he's had one heavy training so far. He's already had a few heavy sort of load. He's got one more training to go. I just don't know how. Like, it just doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't comprehend in my mind that he just gets thrown into the starting 11. I think he comes off the bench, and then maybe the next game, once he has another week of good training, because we've got another week until the next game. Yeah. Then I think he's probably going to start starting from then on. I don't know. Like, he could very well start. I've got no issues if he starts. I'm absolutely happy if he starts. But what's your thoughts, Ishan?
No, this is the same dilemma that we were discussing in our previous show, right, regarding Lukaku starting. And then I really wanted a conclusion about this because I really wanted this guy to be in my FPL's team, but I cannot decide myself whether should I bring this guy or not. But the thing here is, we all know the fact that this guy is fit enough to start. No two ways about it. Just like RJ said, we are not here to point fingers on his fitness level or lack of match fitness. He is definitely fit and he's fit to start. But the thing here is he's come to a new club. I mean, he's changed the countries. Specifically, if I'd want to say, he was there in Milan. Now he came here in London in Chelsea. It just does not fit the fact that you come to a new club with a new surrounding and you just start in the starting lineup right in the first game of the of your career in that new club. It does not fit. And the most important fact that makes me feel that he won't start is that he's not featured in even one of the preseason games with Chelsea. If he had featured in at least of one preseason game in Chelsea, he would have started, but he did not. I mean, not even one. He just came here. He might have had some training sessions here and there, but not even one preseason game.
Even Lukaku said in his press conference yesterday, he's getting to know his teammates. Like, he's knowing them better and better every day. I mean, he does need a little bit of adaptation time, right? I mean, I know he's Premier League proven or not, but he's not played with this set of players.
No, 100%. Not just with those players, but also in Thomas Tuchel's system, the way he needs to play, the way Thomas Tuchel needs his striker to behave. It takes time for that. You just cannot come. I mean, he's a world-class striker. We all know that he can adapt. But the thing is, Thomas Tuchel wouldn't want this guy to come up there and take the pressure, just like RJ said, without playing even once a preseason game. If he had played at least once, then I mean, he could have known the chemistry, he could have known the flair in the upfront, but he didn't. So it'll be difficult regardless, if he's pushed into the starting 11. So for me also, I think so he'll come off the bench. He's ready, and I think so once he comes off the bench for that mere 15, 20, 25 minutes, I think so he'll get to know the pace of the game, the intensity, the chemistry in the top front, and that'll help him to actually make a start in the next game, whichever Chelsea plays. So I think so he'll come off the bench.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think that's what RJ's saying as well. That's what you're saying. I kind of tend to believe that too. The live chat's a bit split in regards to whether he'll start or he'll come off the bench. There's quite a few people that think that he's ready to start, but I think it's more the fact that they're very eager to see him. We are very eager as well. It's just there needs to be some realistic view on it as well. Declan in Ireland agree. Give him second half on Sunday and then unleash him from the start against Liverpool next week. That's exactly how I'm thinking. That is exactly how I'm thinking, because this week he's still getting used to his new teammates, still getting used to Thomas Tuchel's instructions, as Ishan said. All of that matters. You can't just be thrown into, it's a pretty big game. We need to win this in order to continue on and making sure that we're still in the run for the title challenge for this whole season. I just can't see how he just gets thrown in. But the week after against Liverpool, another week of good training, he'll probably end up starting. But 100%, I think he will feature against Arsenal to a degree. RJ. Thomas Tuchel was asked about expectation on Romelu Lukaku, and he quite funnily, and I'm not really sure, and I think you questioned this as well, whether he was joking or not. I think he was. I mean, at the end of the day, to expect 50, 60 goals, I think by winter, so I think he was talking about by Christmas, is pretty insane. Of course, he then goes, well, he's the superstar striker that has been brought in, and he definitely expects goal from him. But yeah, well, what do you make of that particular comment from Thomas Tuchel?
Can I just say more broadly about Thomas Tuchel, his press conferences? What I'm really appreciating is he finds this really nice blend of being really informative and genuine with his responses, but he also is not afraid to be a bit cheeky and throw a few little jokes and comments of humor into the mix. Now, he said 50, 60 goals clearly with tongue in cheek. And I like the fact that he cleverly deflected the expectations question, because it was more thematic. What does he expect from him? He expects him to positively contribute. And he didn't pigeonhole him and say how many goals. I'm sure between themselves they have some internal targets that they expect of him. But it's all about positioning his contribution as, of course, he's brought in to score goals. You don't spend £97.5 million for no goals. but it's equally about how he helps bring in other attacking players, how he plays back to goal. That's what his reference was.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's versatile and allows that fluidity in our structure and style. So for me, I think, and he actually said as well, Big Rom has strong expectations on himself. So for me, 50, 60 goals is in the Premier League, first season back, and I'm an optimistic guy myself. That's very optimistic. If we can hit the 20, 25 goals in the Premier League, I'd happily sign up for that. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And that's why, coming back to the comments about him starting, I just think, on one hand, he's looking good. He's looking fit and fresh. But why throw him in the deep end and set up possibly a not so sensational start because he hasn't had time to adapt and learn the ways of the system? So, but, who knows? If he was to start and he was to impress from the get-go, that could really propel him into a really strong season. So let's just hope it works out either way.
No, for sure. Ishan, 50, 60 goals, that'd be a dream. I would love that. I would literally love that. I think we win the league if he scores 50, 60 goals. Do you know what I mean? Obviously that probably would be all club competition, but even then, we'd be winning some sort of trophies, that's for sure. But what's the realistic sort of output from your perspective for Romelu Lukaku? What are you really expecting from Romelu Lukaku?
Well, first of all, Thomas Tuchel, exceptionally answered that question. He had that blend of sarcasm and realism in it. We all know the fact that 50, 60 goals in one season in Premier League is very, very tough. In fact, you could say impossible, because it's way too much of an ask for a player to score 50, 60 goals in a Premier League season. But then the thing is, the important factor that Lukaku brings to the squad is the impact, and that's exactly what Thomas Tuchel, said, that he's more keen initially on the impact, that what he brings to the squad, how he improves him, not just himself but also the squad along with him, and how the way he takes this squad to a next level in terms of finishing, in terms of the whole attacking gameplay. That's what Thomas Tuchel is trying to expect from this guy. And also, he said that as the season progresses later on, we can set the bar of how many goals should this guy end with. But initially, it is it should not be a target of goals for him. It should be a target of all-round performance from this guy. But yes, we as fans, we definitely would expect goals from him. We would set the bar for him. Realistically speaking, for me, I would definitely want to see a definite 20 plus from Lukaku this season, because I think so 20 should be the bar for him. Above 20, anything would be good. So I think so, and I believe so he can do it. It's not impossible. It's not very tough. It should be easy, looking at the fact that the number of chances we tend to create and the number of chances we created the last season and the chances we missed. I think so 20 goals should be up and there for Lukaku for this season.
All the chances that Werner missed, if he just converts them, that's easily 19 chances.
I remember that. I won't forget that.
No, absolutely, man. Absolutely. You're right. It's not just the goals. I think Lukaku brings a lot more than the goals. And RJ alluded on this a few streams ago that there's a lot of assists that we can expect from Romelu Lukaku as well. So that's going to be equally important, I believe. And Thomas Tuchel did speak about, Romelu Lukaku not just being great for Chelsea Football Club, but at the same time, for like him, his own personal sort of sense, he's going to bring a lot out of the likes of Havertz, Timo Werner, Christian Pulisic. He actually named these three players out. I'll just quickly go to you, RJ, before we move on to the next part in this press conference. Those players, Timo Werner, Kai Havertz, Christian Pulisic, specifically being called out by Thomas Tuchel. Three players, two German, one he's played with in Borussia Dortmund. We'll get to the Pulisic situation. Obviously, he's not available. But overall in the season, they should be licking their lips, because they should be in and around Lukaku to get those assists. So Lukaku will bang in the goals for sure, but they really should be in and around him to score some goals from themselves. So Timo Werner, Kai Havertz and Pulisic, should really be thinking about, hey, this could be party time for me.
Absolutely, I think, and we did speak about this. It's it's a team sport, like Tuchel said at the end during the later stages of his press conference. Being a team sport, each player has to, like he also mentioned, know their role. Everyone has a role. So Lukaku's role is, on top of scoring the goals, it's enabling his other attacking players to elevate their own performances. So it helps the collective benefit of the entire side. So if I am a Pulisic, I am a Hakim Ziyech, even if I'm the wing backs, Chilwell, Reece James, Cho, knowing that you've got someone that has a better chance of increasing the conversion rate from those crosses, that's a tick. For someone that can play off him, like Werner, Havertz, Mount, Pulisic, that's a tick. Even players like Jorginho or Kovacic at the time, when they play those nice first touch over the top long balls, knowing that he's got incredible pace, that's another tick. So you can slowly start to see how Tuchel knows that he's not a one-trick pony. This guy here can really increase the contribution from his teammates. And that's what actually excites me more. Not just him scoring goals, but really bringing the most out of his teammates.
Yeah, absolutely well said, RJ. It's the total package, isn't it? Like, it's not just his goals, it's his contribution all up, which is going to be very, very exciting to see. Michael AC, there's a hot debate I've been noticing that's been going on in the live chat. Everyone's talking about whether Lukaku starts or not. Seems to be a bit of a split. Look, guys, if he starts, fantastic. If he doesn't, it's not the end of the world. If he comes off the bench, which I think if he doesn't start, he will definitely come off the bench, lovely as well. But this is just my opinion, and people have their opinion. The guys had their opinion. I just think maybe he comes off the bench. I could be wrong, and that's absolutely fine. If I see Lukaku in the starting lineup, I will be ecstatic. I will be ecstatic. So this particular comment here from Michael AC. Miz, look at Arsenal's weakness. They got bullied by Ivan Toney. Why not start an hour player like him, but he's world class? Look, I do not disagree with you, my brother. My brother Michael, I do not disagree with you. I'm just putting out another perspective that someone like Lukaku, who literally joined a week ago, joined training on Monday, right? He's only had a handful of training sessions. Yes, he had a preseason with Inter Milan. Okay, I get that. It's a new bunch of players. It's like you going to a new school and someone that's expecting you to be best friends with another particular person straight away. In order to have that chemistry, it takes time, man. It takes a bit of time. So that's the logic I'm putting out there. That's the logic I'm saying, that Romelu Lukaku has not played with Timo Werner, has not played with Havertz, has not played with Mason Mount. They need to understand his movement. He needs to understand their movements. Thomas Tuchel has not coached Romelu Lukaku before. I've seen a commentary saying that, but it's the same system as Belgium. Sure, okay, but Belgium coach is Roberto Martinez, not Thomas Tuchel. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's Thomas Tuchel here. So all of that can take a bit of time to only train under this new system for a handful of days and then go out there and play in a London derby. That's my logic. You know, I know he's Premier League proven. I know he can do it. But I think it's highly unlikely. As I said, if he does start, I'm happy. I'm ecstatic. If he starts, he scores, brilliant. But don't be upset if he doesn't start. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Let's go to the next topic. Ishan, I'll go to you first up. Thomas Tuchel has made it confirmed. Chalobah is staying. He has said it. None of these journalists in the nose and whatnot. Thomas Tuchel has come out and said, Trevor Chalobah has forced me to keep him because of his performances. Fantastic performances. He deserves to stay. And he then also continues to. So I want you to comment on that, but I also want you to comment on another part that I picked up in that press conference. He said, because they were asking him, where do you picture him playing? So he said, look, generally I like him playing in a back three on the right side. He's done that previously. That's where I want him to play. But then they also asked him about, he played as a DM previously as well. He said, look, I completely know that. The preference is as an RCB. But if need be, if there is a need, if there is a player that's injured and there is no backup option, there could be a possibility where he may get a chance to play in a DM position. But it's not the first, that's not preferred. That's not preferred. The preference is RCB. Now, what it made me think, Ishan, was that I don't think we're going to get a midfielder. I get the feeling that we're not going to get a midfielder then. I think we're still going to get a Jules Koundé, but I don't know if we're going to get a midfielder. But what do you think about that? Him being confirmed that he's now staying with Chelsea. Kudos to the academy. Kudos to Chalobah. And also the fact that he could possibly feature in midfield if need be.
No, it's a fairy tale story. And you feel so inspired just by looking at Chalobah's story. And now, he's given his heart out in the preseason. I mean, this guy wasn't even in the conversation before the preseason. Nobody knew who Chalobah was. We weren't expecting a Chalobah in the conversation. But out of nowhere, this guy, with his relentless performance in the preseason, now it's like everybody's backing him to stay in Chelsea, sign the contract for Chelsea, and be a long-term player. This is the purest definition of determination for this club, determination and passion for your club, and the positive mindset and attitude he had. I mean, it's wonderful. It's inspiring for even us fans that one player has that kind of determination to do something like that. So that's the thing. Now he's pulled so great performances in the last games that we're happy to keep Thiago Silva in the substitutes, keep Christensen in the middle, and have a Chalobah there. It just makes us feel happy because he's given it so much, and then his story is so inspiring. So I mean, kudos to Chalobah. I mean, he deserves every bit of it. I hope he can take this gameplay to a different level, and if he does, I mean, who knows? He might be another irreplaceable element like Rudiger is at this point of time at Chelsea. It's just the performance that matters. And if you perform day in, day out, if you keep improving, that's it. I mean, nobody's gonna ask you of nothing else. If you keep performing at the highest level, nobody's going to have you benched, right? So that's exactly what this club is about, and that's exactly what you need to do as a player, and he's doing that. So I'm really, really happy for him. And one thing, again, the question strikes is, since Chalobah is performing so well now, he's confirmed that he's staying. What happens to Jules Koundé deal? If Jules Koundé deal happen, what happens to a Tchouaméni deal, right? And if Tchouaméni deal eventually happens, what happens to a Billy Gilmore if he comes to the next season? So the whole question and answer, turmoil will go on. But the thing here is, I'm happy for Chalobah that he stays. And another thing that you've said is that his position is clear. Majority he'll be playing in the back three. He's shown his potential in the back three. He's shown his confidence in the back three. And it is rightly said by Thomas Tuchel that he should be staying in the back three. And this is the exact thing that we discussed in the last show, that Thomas Tuchel does not experiment with his double pivot. It's a very, very important part of his formation. It's
those two players in the double pivot have very specific roles. It's exactly. Not easy to play that out. They're specialist roles.
Even if you want to just have a job done, you'll not be able to do that because it's that complicated and that specific and that focused. You have to master in those positions of elements of attributes that you need to cover those two positions. And just like Thomas Tuchel said, that yes, we have maybe scarcity of one midfielder, extra midfielder to play. Maybe if the likes of any of these Kante, Jorginho, or Kovacic gets injured, then you might see the likes of either of Chalobah or maybe a Ampadu or a Loftus-Cheek jump in and play in that role. But the thing is that position is so crucial that it's been clearly stated by Thomas Tuchel that he does not like to experiment at that position, and he would like these three players of his midfielders to stay fit as long as they can, because these three players are so important to him, and he wouldn't want any new player to come up there and try to do the job. Just doing the job in that double pivot is not enough for the whole team. There is a risk of whole crumbling down of the formation if one player just does not satisfy that position. So it's a very crucial position, and very well said by Thomas Tuchel that he has to be very, very selective and cautious while selecting a new player in that position. So very well said by him, and I think so Tchouaméni also should be respecting the thing that he's getting a chance to play in the back three. He's been recognized as a back three, so very well to him, and he should be developing as one of the best centre backs in the coming years as well.
Yeah, man. Massive kudos to Chalobah. I mean, RJ, I want you to talk me, get your perspective. I want you to give me your perspective in regards to Trevor Chalobah's progression from academy through loans, the strong pre-season. I mean, what does that say? You know how a lot of people say, the academy boys are not going to get the opportunity. Now that Frank Lampard's gone, there's going to be no opportunity. But looks like there is a path that's been written down now, and now we have precedent from Thomas Tuchel that you can still make it to the first team. Do exactly what Chalobah did. So talk me through your perspective in regards to that, and also this particular commentary from Declan in Ireland. We don't need to buy anyone else now. Our squad is superb with options in every position. Tchouaméni or Koundé will not actually make us better now. That man was Lukaku. I mean, I kind of agree with it, because Lukaku was the biggest factor that we needed upgrade on. And someone like Tchouaméni and Koundé could. Tchouaméni is someone I don't know if he would have got that many game time because of Kante, Jorginho, and Kovacic. Koundé maybe, but at the same time, we're just stacked in that particular situation. So yeah, talk through both the Chalobah situation, the academy, the progression, and this particular comment.
Sure. First point, with the Chalobah progression, it's a nice evolving narrative that helps offset the misconception that there isn't a genuine progression path from the academy through to the first team. It's just another example. On that notion, though, as you know, I think ultimately football triggers our emotions. We love it's subjective in nature, and people are driven by different motives. Some have the motivation of wanting to see their academy make it through the first team, regardless of what it does in the short term in terms of the team's actual progress. And then there's some fans that really just want to see the team do well, regardless of the players you put in that team and where they come from. And that's fine. Football is a game of opinions. We all know that adage. With the Chalobah case, I think what's interesting is that the blueprint seems to be for any aspiring Chelsea product, what you need to do is, if you're going to go out on loan, make sure you impress, step one. If you're on loan, make it count. Then when you come back from pre-season and you haven't gone off on loan, you effectively utilize the very small amount of time you have during pre-season to make a statement. Because Tuchel has said it several times now that Chalobah has basically had a superb pre-season and has effectively changed his decision from, like you said, Ishan, from not being in the conversation to being someone that's now in his mind of getting regular game time. Now, on the notion of whether or not he does make a transition into a more of a defensive midfield style role, I was trying to read between the lines there, and I got the sense that while he conceded that he may look to call upon him, he quite clearly had his preference to keep him in the back three where he seems to be blossoming. And like you boys touched on, those specific roles under this regime have a very specialist understanding And it's not as simple as moving a few pieces around on the board and hoping that they plug the hole. It just doesn't work like that, especially with how he wants to play the game. Now, on to that second point from Declan in Ireland, I fully understand the notion that our attacking issues were the prominent problems from last season and the season before that. Buying Lukaku is a massive plug in the hole of that particular issue. That said, my personal opinion is that wasn't the only issue that needed satisfying for us to bridge the gap to becoming a Premier League title winning team. And specifically, I felt in that DM position, while we have some very high quality players, there were times last season when, despite their individual qualities, finding the optimum balance between those three was sometimes a challenge for us. So Jovicic would have a very good understanding, but would sometimes get found out in transition because they're not as athletically superior to someone like Kante. But then Kante sometimes would get found out of position because he was too busy running everybody down and would often leave Jorginho exposed. Each of them brought tremendous quality, but again, finding that balance sometimes was a bit of a difficult one. And the fact that we've gotten rid of Billy Gilmore out on loan, Conor Gallagher's out on loan, Loftus-Cheek, in my opinion, is more of an advanced or attacking style of midfield player. To say that we don't need any more cover in that position right now, and someone like Tchouaméni, while he's unproven, there's big raps on him. I think that unless Tuchel specifically has someone like Chalobah, Reece James, or Andreas Christensen, who have all played DM in some capacity, then I think we're looking a little bit light in that position. And for Koundé, again, at this stage, as it stands, we've got enough centre backs, I agree. But the situation, you've got to think commercially from the Chelsea standpoint. This is protection for the club because Rudiger's coming off contract next season. Christensen's not far behind him. As it stands, they could walk away from the club. We've sold Gehi, and now we're left stranded. So to say that they're not going to improve us, maybe not right now, but they will help improve us in the medium to long term. So I'll leave it at that.
Now, very well said, very well articulated, RJ. And this is exactly what the Beautiful Game is saying as well. Koundé and Tchouaméni are investments for the future. We may not see it now, but there will be a time. Thiago Silva will have to leave, possibly next season. Azpilicueta could be his final season. So already there's 2 CBs gone. And on top of that, as what RJ was saying, Rudiger and Christensen have not signed their contract extension yet. They look like they will, but you just don't know. You just don't know. All of these things could break down out of nowhere. Rudiger's asking for a lot of money, and he probably deserves it. But Chelsea could turn around and say, well, we don't want to be doing that kind of business anymore.
And Zuma too seemingly is not preferred, rightly or wrongly. So what does that mean?
So, yeah, there's that. So, I suppose, there could be a need for Koundé. And not just that, a lot of the live chat, and I've said it as well, fantastic ball-playing defender, Koundé. Has stats like a midfielder. Ishan and I, we've done several Chelsea transfer news in regards to Jules Koundé and the stats that this man has. Tchouaméni is another one. Absolute superb midfielder. Says Fabregas, saying he can play anywhere in midfield. But yes, there is that caveat. Well, there is Billy Gilmore as well. And how many years does Kante still have? Jorginho and Kovacic is probably still going to stick around. So that one's a bit tough one. Then you've got Ethan Ampadu. What's the future there? There was some recent, articles that Ethan Ampadu may stay. Thomas Tuchel may keep him around. Because Ethan Ampadu can play. Yeah, it's a very interesting one, RJ. Can play as a left CB and can play as a register. Has done so for Wales. So there's that. And is Ruben Loftus-Cheek a foregone, conclusion? I don't know. So the midfield one, I'm a bit iffy about, but at the same time, I could understand if we get it. But someone like Tchouaméni coming in, I don't know if Tchouaméni is going to just enjoy being a rotational player. But then again, if someone was to say to Tchouaméni, look, hang in there, you're young, you're probably going to get a long contract with Chelsea. players like Kante will move on eventually. Well, will finish up soon. Probably got another 2 years of maximum grade. We're already seeing Kante slowly breaking down here and there in terms of injuries. So possibly 2 more seasons, and then maybe we look to get someone else in. I don't know. I would love to see Kante retire, hang up his boots at Chelsea, but we'll see. We'll see. There is, confusion around that matter. Okay, let's now talk about some ins and outs that Thomas Tuchel was talking about. I saw Jake getting a bit upset that I have in my title Pulisic out. Pulisic out doesn't mean I want Pulisic out. Pulisic out means that Pulisic is not participating in this match. I'm not having a slander. I'm not having a dig at Pulisic that get out of my
Liz
club.
hates Captain America.
Yeah.
That's the new headline.
Not like that fan Werner out. No. The title.
Get Werner out of my club.
I saw Come On You Blues TV, which is Jake. I love you, Jake, my man. No, I like Pulisic. I'm not saying in my title Pulisic out. No. Pulisic is just out from this particular fixture because he tested positive. Before we talk about Ziyech and Kante, who are back as well, we'll talk about that. But I really want to talk about this Pulisic situation. Ishan, I'll go to you first up before I go to RJ. It's a sad scenario. He's tested positive because he misses this game, and he probably will miss Liverpool as well because you need to isolate for about 10 days.
Yeah.
And whether he comes straight back into the Liverpool game, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think he'll isolate. Then he'll probably isolate, train for a little bit, and then slowly after the Liverpool game. I mean, competition this season is immense already, Ishan. Ziyech seems to be back again. He's back. We're going to talk about that. But you have Callum Hudson-Odoi. You always talk about sacrifice.
Yeah.
It just, this player so unlucky that he tested positive is not ideal time for this to happen. It's never an ideal time anyway. Never ever an ideal time for this testing positive. But how unlucky is that, Ishan, for Christian Pulisic?
No, very, man. I mean, the time just when we thought that he's got to get the momentum going because he's got that goal against Crystal Palace. And, we all knew the fact that, he did not have had the greatest of pre-seasons that he'd have imagined. But, he came up against Crystal Palace, had that goal, and we all imagined that, keep that momentum going of scoring goals. That's exactly when there is a block there. And then, he's tested positive for COVID. The thing here is Chelsea won't be affected by this. Why? Because you've got many options there in the bench that you can replace, Pulisic, right? We've got the likes of Hakim Ziyech, who's back from his injury as well. We've got Havertz, we've got Werner, Mount, Lukaku's there now to take the up top, number 9. But the thing here is Chelsea, I don't think so. Just like you said, the competition is so high that I don't see Chelsea missing Pulisic that much because we've got so many options there. 1 or 2 game week, not a problem at all. We'll have a Hudson-Odoi or a Ziyech or a Mount and Havertz combination playing that 2 number 10's position. So the thing here is only the one who's getting affected adversely here is Christian Pulisic himself. He had to take the momentum carrying forward, but again, this is something which even he cannot escape. This is something which the whole world is going through, and maybe the bad news is this is the wrong time. Just like you said, I mean, it was the starting of the season. Everything was fresh. He got the first goal in the first game of the Premier League, and that marks a big impact. When you're getting first goal in the first, we all know that he didn't have the perfect game against Crystal Palace also, but then still getting a goal.
And you're right, Ishan. Like I was thinking, getting that goal, it's going to kick his, his season, and he was only going to get, kick on from here. I expected him to start against Arsenal, but it is it's sad. Yeah.
No, also knowing the fact that Hakim Ziyech just came in, so he might not feature against Arsenal in the starting 11. So that gives Pulisic the edge that he might start. Also knowing the fact that he had scored against Palace, right? So it gives him an edge that he might start. But now, with this positive thing, it completely takes him out of the equation, not just for this game against Liverpool as well. And you never know, if in this 2 game weeks, who's going to perform better, and if after Liverpool's game, if he'll have a chance to come up and actually feature in the playing 11, knowing the fact that we've got so many options, and if two or three of those options play so good that it's so difficult to bring him back in the squad, it's going to be a difficult situation for Pulisic as well. So, but as soon as he comes back, I hope he trains hard really well. Any amount of chance that he gets, I'm sure he'll not be getting starting 11 right away, but he'll be getting some game time here and there, at the second half. But my wish is any time that he gets after he recovers, I hope he gives his 100% commitment on those game time that he gets. I hope he shows 100% impact and impresses the coach. The intensity of his gameplay should be level 100 and not even one level below that. If that's the case, that there's only he can hope for a chance in the starting 11, or else the competition is way too tough for Pulisic.
No, for sure. RJ, I mean, how unlucky is this situation for Christian Pulisic, yeah?
Like you said, and well said, by the way, Ishan, I totally agree with those comments. I always feel with someone like Pulisic, and I'm keen to see what the live chat thinks, that he just seems to be someone that he gets some momentum, gets injured. Gets some momentum, shows us some glimpses, gets injured, or has some illness. Yeah. He just can't seem to catch a lucky break. And I know that some people say you create your own luck and that, but for instances like this, that's really hard to regulate for. Because for me, and I know a lot of fans also I do see on the timeline share similar sentiments, we felt that this was a crucial season for him in terms of him trying to make a statement as to what is his role in Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea, or in Chelsea going forward, because we know he's a promising talent. He's given us shades of his brilliance, but we're a club that has high expectations. And part of that is maintaining consistency and that relentless execution. We can't afford dribs and drabs, and we don't want to carry passengers. So it's up to him whether or not he wants to be a passenger or he wants to be a driver. I hope personally, if he can, once he overcomes this COVID business, he gets back into it and really focuses on staying fresh mentally as well as physically, because we know that he has had his mental challenges that are difficult to overcome, and that affects his confidence. And being in the position of the field that he plays in that attacking area, and using his ability to use his pace and dribbling skills as well as his eye for goal, he really needs to be in the right mindset that when he comes back, it's about putting his best foot forward, because Tuchel now is starting to foster a squad where competition breeds competition. And we're not going to wait around, as ruthless as that sounds, for players to maybe or maybe not realize their potential. The ball's at his court.
Absolutely well said, man. Absolutely well said. It's what Ishan said as well, and very well articulated by RJ as well. Both saying it is what it is at the moment. Unlucky again. Seems to be unlucky for a very long time. But when he does come back, you gotta go. You got to go, because the competition is immense, and before you know it, the season's almost like halfway done. Let's just say, like, all of these things happen, and then all of a sudden you're in December, and you have not really kicked on as yet, and then the pressure will really be on. Kishan, really good to see you on the live stream, my man. Kishan won't be available on Sunday, ladies and gentlemen, for the Chelsea news segment with Amir. We'll see what we do. Maybe Amir and myself will go, or maybe we might even bring a special guest. We'll see what happens on that particular day. Let's talk a little bit about Ziyech and Kante. Ishan, I'll go to you first up. Hakim Ziyech back this week. I can't believe this man is back. I really can't believe it. Like, I am so happy. In the morning, I saw the news, got the pictures and all of that. Yesterday, he was training. Literally 8 days ago, apparently 8 days ago, now 9 days ago, that he was injured, and now he's back training. Really fantastic. Thomas Tuchel was asked the question, and he was saying, look, thankfully it's not, as serious as everyone thought. It's not a dislocation, but you still need to be careful about these sort of things. There is still one more training session to go, see how he takes that workload, but you don't want to get shot. In football, when you're running, you're going to get shoulder punched. So, you got to be very careful that he doesn't, dislocate this. So one more training session to go, really test him out. But Thomas Tuchel really talks about Ziyech's impact already this season. He said, brilliant preseason, decisive against Spurs, decisive in Villarreal game, decisive in most of the preseason games. And he also threw in, not just decisive, also said attitude has been perfect. Since the start of this season, perfect. So, which kind of lets me know that maybe the attitude last season, maybe, yes, it was the first season. He was also getting injured, in and out from the team. Maybe not always the greatest attitude, but apparently this season, on the spot, bang on attitude, and he's loving it. What do you got to say about that, Ishan?
No, I'm happy, man. I'm happy that he's back, and I nobody expected that. In terms of N'Golo Kante, it was not that of a serious injury, so we were expecting Kante to be in and around for the few days. But Hakim Ziyech, that looked kind of serious, and maybe if it wasn't even that serious, we thought that maybe at least a minimum of couple of weeks it would take for him to at least show up in the training. But this guy came back in 8 days, just hardly 1 week. So I mean, wow, it shows the determination, and then thankfully that he did not carry for a longer time in that Super Cup final. If he had gone, maybe gone in the bench and come back again, with some kind of quick fix, I think so it would have been worse. And then rightly said by you that the way he returned in this 8 days actually shows his determination and positive attitude. And he's back into training, and not just that, he's back into training. That means he's good to go. He's actually fit. He actually can play. But the thing is, he needs to be 100% match fit. Still, I think so. I don't feel like he'll be featuring against Arsenal by any means. I think so. He'll take 1 week time, this whole week time to get 100% rejuvenated, and maybe against Liverpool he can come back. Very rightly so, but said by Thomas Tuchel that he's actually been the best performer in the preseason, and he's got the highest number of goals, and his impact has been absolutely immense. Just look at that Super Cup final. He scored a goal, he's got injured, and the moment he left, Chelsea crumbled down. I mean, the whole morale was down. There was no coordination. We conceded a goal. Even at the end of halftime, we were praying that just blow the whistle and let us go to the tunnel. The whole coordination was ripped apart. Even in the second half, we did not saw the best of Chelsea. After Hakim Ziyech went, so the whole coordination went down. And this is the impact that this player brings, and he's been very, very immense for us for the whole preseason. And again, it's very unlucky for him that every single time he starts to gain some momentum, he goes through an injury, a silly one. Last time he went through COVID, and before that in the preseason itself, he went for one of the leg injuries as well. So I mean, it's unfortunate, but thankfully that he's back in 8 days and he's good to go. I can't wait to see him back on the pitch and then do laurels for the club. And again, I think so. Not this time, but maybe against Liverpool, it'll be again a selection dilemma for Thomas Tuchel, because the way this guy has been playing, you cannot bench this guy.
Nah, man, and I can't wait to see the link up between him and Lukaku. I think it's perfect. Yeah. It's absolutely perfect now. He's got that focal point up front. He's gonna have all of these other players like Havertz and Mount and Werner, whoever starts. And then, Ziyech can be able to find those. He's just going to be unleashed. Ziyech will be unleashed. And it will unleash his game as well with a focal point up front. RJ, those comments from Thomas Tuchel were very, very heartwarming for me. I know a lot of the live chat, and you guys all know how much I love Ziyech. So maybe I do talk it up a little bit more. But, it is what it is. It's my channel, God damn it. I'll do what I want to do. But from your perspective, RJ, I mean, the fact that he's come back so quick, one, determination, two, great job from the Chelsea medical team as well. But he's so determined to do well. He does not want to miss out. I mean, what do you got to say about that?
Yeah, and I agree with what Ishan said. It's fantastic to see that through a combination of determination and great medical work from the Chelsea team. Thomas Tuchel, he said before the Palace game that he would be around the 2-week mark. The fact that he now seems to be ahead of schedule, and just as a caveat, he said that him and Kante maybe be in the squad based on tomorrow's training, and I'll get a better indication. But the fact that he's in the conversation is heartwarming in itself, because as you know, Miz, I know that you're a big fan of the Moroccan magician, and I like to stir you up a little bit at times, thinking, are you being fully objective here at times, or are you getting a bit subjective with him? But in all seriousness, I think based on his preseason, he's actually carried on a lot from the end of last season, where he was making some very vital contributions. And I put that down to him starting to acclimatize to the new environment and getting up to speed with the rigors of the Premier League and getting his fitness on point. Because while I was a big fan of what he's been doing recently in terms of those vital goals he's scoring and the passes he's been providing, for me, it's really been about his off-the-ball work. He's been really aggressive with the press and the counter press. And as you know, that's why I'm a huge Kante fan, because if not for anything you can offer the team, you've got to offer 110% off the ball, because that's the intangibles of that attitude. That's something that doesn't need skill per se. That just needs effort. And if you can't give the effort, then you don't really deserve to be wearing a shirt, in my opinion. So the fact that he was doing that, and on top of that, being able to bring his unique skill set and wizardry with his passing and his ability to know where to be in the right position at the right time for the cutbacks, etc., he was someone that I was hoping, and I'm sure Thomas Tuchel and the rest of the team, he was going to bring a different type of profile to our attack. He's not a dribbler per se. He's not someone that's going to blister people with his pace, but he's going to cut in. He's going to play that long diagonal ball. He'll play that reverse pass. He'll have the shot from 25 yards out, or he'll whip in that dangerous cross. The point is he's unpredictable.
Yeah.
Will he lose the ball a lot of the time? Sure. He'll turn it over 8 out of 10 times, but the 2 out of 10 times is going to create 2 golden chances. And with Lukaku up front, that could be the difference between a 1 point and a 3 points for us. So fingers crossed he gets back to full fitness and continues that momentum, because he can be like almost another signing, in my opinion.
No, 100, man. That's fantastically said. And Thomas Tuchel said that, one more training session to go, both with Kante, ladies and gentlemen. Kante is back as well. Great news from that perspective. Great to have Kante back. And I just hope that we manage him. I don't want to see him, get back too early again and then get injured. Similarly with Ziyech as well. Both Ziyech and Kante, as long as they're in the bench and maybe get some minutes, that's fantastic. I know there's only 3 substitutions that we can make, and that's fine. Maybe that's Lukaku, Kante, and Ziyech. I don't know. If Lukaku starts, well, that's brilliant as well. But yeah, I don't want Kante and Ziyech to just come back too quickly, especially Kante. I know Ziyech has some injury issues as well, but Kante we seem to bring him on too quickly, and then he picks up another little niggly injury, and then he misses out another game. So we just need to be very careful about this situation. Great to see both these players back training, and possibly they could be in the squad against Arsenal, at least in the bench for sure, I believe, because they're both training. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've pretty much now covered all of the information from the press conference. Before we go to the lineup and the formation and whatnot, which is going to be very, very exciting to do. You guys always love doing that. 230 people live. Smash the like button. Get the likes up to well over 200. Number 1, that's your job. If you can do that, you guys love coming to this channel. I literally had a stream a couple of hours ago, and you guys were all there too. Smash the like button. Get it all the way over 200. And if you're here for the first time as well, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. We are running wild towards 8,000 subscribers. And check out my panelists and their socials in the description. RJ and his YouTube channel, It's a Football Thing. The link is there. Literally just click on it. It'll take you there. Subscribe. And RJ's Twitter account as well. Link is there. Go and follow. Similarly with Ishan, the link is there for Twitter and Instagram, especially Instagram. That's where you'll find Ishan a lot. Go and follow Ishan there. Before we go to the lineups, let's talk a little bit about the importance of this game. Really build this up. Then we go to the lineup. RJ, I'll go to you first up, then I'll go to Ishan. For me, RJ, I want to beat Arsenal badly. I really do. I mean, they've done the double on us last season. Frank Lampard, I thought that was during December, and I just thought that our team at that time, it was a bit topsy-turvy, but I thought Arsenal had not won for about 2 months until they played us. They didn't win for about 2 months. And then we were the first victory for them after 2 months. And then from there, they went on a bit of a run. And then obviously Thomas Tuchel, the second time around, a freak own goal from Jorginho, mistake with Pepe as well. But we had chances. We just couldn't put them away. Arsenal did not do anything that game. Obviously, we beat them in the preseason, but it's a preseason, so I don't want to count that too much. I'm so desperate to beat them. We have the team to beat them. I just hope that the boys don't feel complacent. They take this team as just another team, just like Crystal Palace, Arsenal. Go out there, perform your best, put the team away, get the 3 points. We want to be in that title chase, and dropping points now, I just don't want to do that. We've got Liverpool straight after this, so it's very important to keep on track because Liverpool got Burnley. I'm pretty sure they'll probably be Burnley, Liverpool at home, I think, or Burnley. I'm pretty sure Liverpool at home. RJ, how big is this match for you, bro?
I know it's cliche, but every match matters. And I know this, we have to add the spice here. But as we said the other day, what I want to avoid is the trap of looking at this game and them putting too much pressure and looking at past results and treating them as a bit of a bogey team. Because the reality is we have the responsibility now of being touted as Premier League title contenders. And with that responsibility comes expectation on us to treat each game professionally, whether if it's the likes of Burnley, if it's Crystal Palace, or it's Arsenal, Man City. The objective's clear. It's 3 points. It doesn't matter who's in front. But for us, undoubtedly, being human beings that they are, they're going to want to right a few wrongs from the recent times, because we are the European champions, the only club in London, just to be crystal clear on that. And with that, as we know, Arsenal love to share that they did the double on the European champions, and that's almost equivalent to them winning a trophy. But for our sake and our own personal pride, it would be a huge boost early in the season to put the demons of the past behind us, to not have that hanging over our head. And it's more importantly about consolidating on a very good performance against Crystal Palace. So emotionally speaking, yes, we want to kick a wounded rival when they're down. But more importantly, it's about really backing up a good performance and establishing that consistency that we were talking about. Because there's no point in beating the top end of town and the cellar dwellers at home if we can't get the job done against the teams that we're expected to do so. And that includes Arsenal, who are a weakened side at the moment. And credit to them with Arteta and what they've been able to do recently and get up for the games against us. But the reality is we have reinforced. We are looking fresh. We have supplemented our squad. They're in a little bit of chaos. But Tuchel said in his press conference that they're going to really try to play to that underdog status. And it's up to us to just focus on executing our game plan. And the 3 things he spoke about were intensity, rhythm, and confidence. If we can get that balance right, goodbye Gunners. So it's all about that, boys.
100% agreed. I mean, Ishan, going back of what RJ just said, our squad, you look at it, there's just world-class players now. Honestly, a lot of people will say, oh, we don't have them. No, there are genuinely now some proper world-class players there. And you look at the Arsenal team, you know, they're going to have quite a few players missing. You know, maybe Aubameyang is still missing, Lacazette's still missing with testing positive. They've got big issues over there as well. I mean, the caliber of players that they're getting, you know, they're getting players like Odegaard. And I got no disrespect in regards to Odegaard, but it's not the same caliber of players that we get in likes of Lukaku and, the kind of players that we get linked to. Do you know what I mean? Ramsdale is the goalkeeper that they're getting. I mean, it's just not the same levels. I feel the levels are so different now. We are so far ahead of them. But it just bothers me. It bothers me that they've beaten us twice last season. I really, really need to get the victory. They lost against Brentford, the first opening game. Brentford absolutely murdered them, showed them exactly, where their level is at the moment. And this commentary from Michael, imagine watching the Amazon dog back after smashing. That's another added motivation. I want to see that Amazon dog, and I want to see this particular week where we pump them. And I want to see that particular episode. Yeah. I mean, Ishan, talk to me, man. I mean, anything less than 3 points, I feel like that's a letdown.
Yeah. Now, first of all, what a brilliant, mature, and professional answer by RJ. Absolutely loved it. I mean, he covered almost everything. But the thing here is, Miz, it's always the thing that we will, in terms of team sheet, in terms of team list, we're a better guys than them. But then they managed to beat us somehow or some way, and that's quite frustrating. Even in the last season, the first time, both of the times we got beaten by these guys, and it was just the last season and that they did the double on us. And before that, the only time that these guys did a double on us was back in 2003 when they were the Invincibles, 17 years back. Are you kidding me? And they did the double on us in the last season with these goofs around. I mean, just compare the Invincible and compare this Arsenal squad. It's a shame.
But that team had Thierry Henry. It had some of the legendary players, Patrick Vieira and all that.
Oh man, yeah, exactly. And we've lost double to these goofs. I mean, it's absolutely embarrassing, and I'm waiting for the revenge. But the thing is, I just hope we don't turn out to be Charity FC. None of that shit anymore.
Please,
I just hope that.
I beg.
Yeah, I mean. It's why is it always like that?
Charity's over.
Yeah, I mean,
no more charity.
It's always like that.
No more charity.
Against the big teams, we turn out really well. Against these mid-tables and small teams, we do not fare well. I mean, yeah, even the last season, we saw that we struggled against some mid-table teams, and this time it shouldn't be the same case around. Tomorrow is one of the match against the mid-table teams, and we should be, comfortably defeating them. We should not lose these matches, where we are actually supposed to win straightforward, right? With comfortably 2, 3, 4 goals or so. Yes, just like RJ said, such an important thing that we should be testing our intensity. The whole chemistry, the gameplay, the coordination has to be up there. That's where the confidence comes for a squad. Yes, the scoreline matters. It always matters. The goal matters. But then the combination play, the whole gameplay, the chemistry, everything matters. And I hope that intensity does not come down. We've been absolutely brilliant against Crystal Palace, and I hope we continue that momentum. The guys that they've showed immense intensity against Crystal Palace as well. I hope they do the same against Arsenal, and I just pray that that there are no red cards, or some injuries in mid of the match, so that this there's some mishap that we just bundle out. The chemistry just falls down out of nowhere, and we started playing like some rookies out there. So I just hope that doesn't happen. We keep the momentum going, we keep the intensity going, and I just wish we just batter these guys tomorrow.
100%. And Thomas Tuchel deserves to beat Arteta. Arteta is getting beat by everyone, and Thomas Tuchel's going out there beating some of the top managers around Europe. The likes of Pep, the likes of Simeone, the likes of Zidane. Who else did he beat? He beat quite a few other ones as well, Ancelotti as well. In the Premier League. So, I mean, yeah, we do need to go out there and make sure, not just for our sake, but also Thomas Tuchel's sake, that he puts it against Arteta. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll talk about the score prediction right at the end as well, and finish things off in that. Talk a little bit more about that game right at the end. But now it's the brilliant, lineup, the formation, everything that you guys have been working on, been waiting on. I saw PYS earlier putting out his team just quickly. This is PYS's team: Mendy, Rudiger, Silva, Chalobah, James, Chilwell, Jorginho, Kante, Mount, Lukaku, Havertz. Let's see if that's how we turn out to be. But yeah, this is the opportunity where we can predict the Chelsea lineup. Let's get this going. I'll start with you, RJ, and then we'll see what Ishan has to say. Give me your back three, including the goalkeeper, and then we'll have a comment about that.
Sure. So I'd go surprise, Mendy in goal. I'd go LCB Rudiger. I would go Silva here on this one. I think he's looking pretty fresh.
Okay.
And I would probably stick with Chalobah. I've got to say, I'd agree with PYS on this one.
Hard to drop Chalobah.
It is, and I'm a little bit conflicted. So keen to see what Ishan thinks.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously Azpilicueta is there as well. RJ,
correct.
Not this RJ, but Reece James RJ is also in the mix. I just want to quickly read out this super chat before I go to Ishan. Vijay Praveen Kumar, thank you so much for the super chat. My man Thierry Henry plans to buy Arsenal. He's backed by tech investors, and the move might go down to down in the next 2 months. Yeah, look. I don't wish anything good for Arsenal, to be honest. I hope they keep with Kroenke at the moment because, I'm loving it. I hope Kroenke takes them all the way to the bin, to be honest. But if Henry ends up getting them, well, we'll see what happens. But I'm pretty sure if Henry does get that, I think Arsenal probably might be back and they might be running the way they probably need to be running as one of the top football clubs, but I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying all the fun and games at the moment under Kroenke. But Ishan, what's your back three, including the goalkeeper? Are you agreeing with RJ here?
Yeah, I have to agree with RJ, but the one only thing which concerns me is would Thomas Tuchel play Silva out of sudden and risk Christensen, knowing the fact that Christensen has played more in the preseason, including the last game against Crystal Palace. So that's just a concern for me. But the thing here is, if Thiago Silva is 100% fit and ready to go, I would definitely play Thiago Silva. But if he's not, then maybe it'll just be Andreas Christensen in place of Thiago Silva, or else everything is same.
Yeah, I might just put in AC here. It's a good point.
Yeah.
Is Silva absolutely match fit? Yeah, RJ, you going to say something?
No, I was just going to say, I think the part of the motivation there is twofold. Firstly, it's obviously assuming that Silva is fit and firing, but equally is that at what point, if he is fit and ready to go, when is a good time to integrate him? So I wouldn't want to do it against a tougher team, quote unquote, but equally because I've elected to go Chalobah, I am concerned if we don't have Silva or Azpilicueta, do we lose a little bit of that leadership influence at the back, knowing that I know we've got Rudiger, but for me, Silva or Azpilicueta should be in there to help govern the youngsters. So that's part of my thinking.
And you know what? Sooner or later, we do expect Silva to play games. So this is the second Premier League game, and he has been training now for a little bit of time. Yeah, I mean, I see no reason, but I do understand, Ishan, what you mean, that if he's not 100%, Andreas Christensen is match ready. So that's why I've got Christensen as that backup over there. I would probably go with this lineup as well: Rudiger, Silva, Chalobah. Very difficult to drop Chalobah right now. Very, very difficult. He's been playing immense. And Rudiger, of course, what an absolute monster he has been for us. So he definitely starts. Mendy undoubtedly. And Silva, it could be anyone between Silva and Andreas Christensen, to be honest. But if Silva is 100% fit, I think he starts for me. Okay, I'll have a dig at the wing backs, and then I'll go to Ishan and RJ about it. This is quite tricky. This is definitely tricky because Chilwell has now been training, and he has played that game after Crystal Palace. Sooner or later, he will have to start as well. Now, the thing is, Chilwell hasn't played any competitive matches yet. So that's the other factor. So, and Alonzo, once again, very good match against Crystal Palace. So how do you drop him now? Maybe Chilwell comes in and gets some minutes in the second half. Obviously now Emerson gone, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Emerson is official to Lyon on a loan and with the obligation to buy, with the option to buy. So there should only be the Chilwell, situation happening here. If Alonzo needs to be substituted, I will go with Alonzo to start with because Chilwell hasn't had that match fitness yet, and I would see Chilwell coming as one of the substitutes somewhere along the line, maybe. But Alonso starts for me. This one gets even more trickier. Reece James hasn't had enough game, and Azpilicueta has already played in that spot. Callum, I don't know. I thought Callum Hudson-Odoi is someone who's going to get some more minutes in that right wing back spot, but I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I think Thomas Tuchel is going to go with experience, and I think he's going to go with his captain. I think he's going to go with Aspie. And if anything, if there is an opportunity, I don't know, RJ from the bench. I know there's not all of these players not going to happen off the bench, but I'm just putting it out that if that happens, that is the possibility. I don't know if Callum will get an opportunity again. I think it'll be Aspie. I'll go to you first up, Ishan. What's your thoughts on the wing backs?
I completely agree. Alonso has to start for me, even if Chilwell has played that closed doors match that they had. I think so. The way Alonso performed against Crystal Palace, he definitely deserves one of my man of the match performances that he had. I mean, I've not seen Alonso play like that for a long time, and he's shown that in Crystal Palace. I was surprised, and I really liked the way he showed his commitment there in the whole Palace game. So for me, definitely Alonso starts, and again in the right wing back, I think so. Aspie will start. Again, Reece James, just like you said, is a guy who's not been exposed with competitive matches more, similar to Chilwell. So again, I think so. It'll be Aspie, and then Reece James can come up in the second half, get some minutes, and maybe then he'll get some game time against Liverpool. Maybe he might start against Liverpool, but I think so. It'll be Aspie. Yeah.
PYS obviously he's saying Alonso versus Pepe. No thanks. I mean, are we really scared about Pepe? I'm not too scared about Pepe, and I think the way Thomas Tuchel has been producing his system, the way he's now deploying Alonso is very much closer to the midfield, and this is what Ryan was saying yesterday as well. You don't consistently see Alonso over here. Yes, he does sneak up here every now and then whenever he sees right, but that pass against Villarreal where he put that, it was from deep position, how he released Havertz. So he is playing more in these sort of areas, Alonso. Alonso is not consistently leaving, in these areas. Whenever he is going there, there is a good shift to cover for him. So I'm not worried about Alonso versus Pepe. I don't think that's always going to be the case. There's always cover with Rudy and someone like Jorginho. But yeah, I do understand Chilwell needs to start playing at times. But RJ, what's your thoughts about this particular wingback situation on both sides?
I'm loving the discussion, and I've got different thoughts about it because the way I'm looking at it, and perhaps it's a bit wrong, I'm actually trying to look a little bit ahead, in meaning we've got Liverpool next. So with that in mind, I would be more comfortable. I know it's not the Liverpool preview, but I would want Chilwell in that game, knowing that we're probably going to have a more challenging task and would need that pace and that more defensive solidity that Chilwell provides.
Very true.
So I know what you boys said about Chilwell could come on in the second half and ease his way into it. But I feel he's relatively fresh anyway, having not participated at the Euros. Yes, he lacks match sharpness, but he's not a youngster who doesn't know how to integrate back into it. But I'd actually be looking at it that he would start, get some minutes in his legs, and then get a bit of a break for the Liverpool game, because I almost see this as a bit of a shootout between him and Alonso to see who starts for the Liverpool game. Alonso had a great game against Palace. If Chilwell starts and has a great game against Arsenal, then it gives Thomas Tuchel a good headache to have. But I'm concerned then a little bit about how does Tuchel manage his rotations, because if you pick Alonzo, I would go someone like Azpilicueta or Reece James. I wouldn't go Cho if you're going to pick Alonzo, because I look at him as needing to be balanced. Alonso is more attacking focused, so you need a right wing back that's more conservative in nature, and that's what Aspi or Reece James would be. So I'd have that. But if you're going to pick Chilwell, I would be more open to giving Cho a go, but I would probably select Reece James. So I'd go your combination, Alonso. If Alonso was starting, Azpilicueta partners him. If Chilwell was to start, RJ would partner him. So it's who would I go with? I would go Chilwell, RJ personally, but I can understand the logic here because Alonso's in good form right now. I'm just not 100% sure whether or not Aspi at this stage, is it worth trying to run him too hard into the ground too soon in the campaign when you've got Reece James ready to rock and roll? So it's a difficult one. I'm glad I'm not the manager. I'll just say that.
Absolutely. Look, I completely understand your point. Very, very compelling points, RJ. I want to throw it to the live chat then. Live chat, literally 230. I want to see your wing-back combination. Think about the match. Think about the profile that Arsenal has and tell me exactly which right wing-back and left wing-back that you'd play with. And the biggest combination, we'll see if we can plug them in. So throw in your answers now. I mean, Ishan has said Alonzo as well, Aspi. I've kind of alluded on Alonzo, Aspi. RJ understands that as well, but he's also got compelling arguments towards Chilwell and RJ. I kind of now also see that, the other side of that coin from RJ. I do see it. So let's see what the live chat has to say. Michael is saying Alonso, Reece, PYS, Chilwell, James, Chilwell, Aspi, Chilwell, RJ, Chilwell, RJ. Okay, so all right. I think first of all we can say Chilwell is a shoo-in. Few Alonso votes coming in now. Alonso from Come On You Blues, Alonso from XOCFC, CNF is Alonso, Chilwell. I think Chilwell wins. There's quite a bit of Chilwell that's coming through. So let's go with Chilwell.
But how good is this, just while you're thinking about that, how good is the fact that there's genuine competition, that it's not a straight answer? That's what I think is the best part about all of this.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And on the other side, it seems to be a lot of Reece James. Majority has gone with Reece James. So this is the balance that RJ was talking about anyway. Chilwell and RJ. I mean, it would have been Cho, but the preference is probably going to be RJ because Cho's probably not going to get that opportunity. Sean, just quickly, I mean, you can't be too disheartened with this, yeah?
No, it makes sense. It does make sense. But I mean, Reece James does make sense completely because he's got some game time under his kitty. But maybe I think so. Alonso, the way just he performed, it would be a little bit harsh on him to not give him the chance in this match. I'm thinking from just that perspective, or else any combination there would make total sense to me. But just the way Alonso performed, it really impressed me. And I do not think that Thomas Tuchel would bench Alonso after that blistering performance. But definitely agree on the fact that Chilwell has to come up, someday, and also he has to feature against Liverpool, knowing the intensity that Liverpool brings on the table. So agreed 100%. But anything that Thomas Tuchel does, I'm with him. But then my argument was that from Alonso's past performance against Crystal Palace, I think so he should have started. That's it.
Yeah, you're talking more from a merit point of view that Alonso deserves, but at the same time, from a logic point of view, you also understand what RJ is saying, that sooner or later Chilwell has to start somewhere, and he's probably going to feature against Liverpool. You might as well give him the time now. The live chat are more or less going with this as well. Just quickly before we go to the double pivot, I want to hear from both of you boys. Actually, no, we'll hold that thought. I want to talk about Callum, but we'll hold that thought, how you guys want to play out your front three. I don't think there is going to be any arguments about this because I personally don't think Kante should be starting because he's just coming back from injury. I don't want him to get injured again. Boys, are you disagreeing with this at all? We'll go with Ishan.
No, I think so. Very rightly said. I think so. Maybe Thomas Tuchel, even if Kante is fit, we're very, very conservative with N'Golo Kante. Even if a little bit of injury, we do not want that injury to be very big. I think so. Thomas Tuchel would save Kante for Liverpool rather than featuring him against Arsenal. So this lineup definitely makes sense. The double pivot. I agree. We might see a Kante in the second half if Thomas Tuchel wants him to bring him in and keep the momentum a little bit running, and then he can start against Liverpool. But then I know the fact that we're very much conservative with Kante and we do not risk him a bit, and this makes total sense to me, the double pivot.
Yeah, man. PY, so just want to quickly bring this up. Kovacic is a machine, but he's played 120 minutes and 90 minutes, another 90 minutes, 90 against Arsenal. Wow, that would be some risk. Yeah, it would, but they have had a week off, haven't they, since the last match against Crystal Palace? So it's not like they've played many matches in between. Whereas the Villarreal and the Crystal Palace was close by. So, but what can you do because Kante was not available in this game? I mean, Ajay, I'll throw it to you. I mean, do you expect Kante to start?
No, simple as that. I totally respect what PYS is saying, but that fatigue element and the risk of injury as a result of that, to me, is heightened once you have played 5 to 10 games consecutively. But the fact that you highlighted that there was a good break in between the Palace game and now, and he's a very fit guy, he's not on the tail end of his career, I genuinely don't believe that's a heightened risk. And I think for his sake, he wouldn't want to interfere because he knows, he's a smart guy, Kovacic. He'll know that Kante is pretty much irreplaceable. Jorginho's in the form of his life. This is his real-time audition, basically, to keep himself in the train of thought of Thomas Tuchel. So I think he's going to be someone that would be pushing to play as many minutes as possible so he doesn't become forgotten. So, look, I really like the Jovic pivot of how they've been playing recently and using the merit theme, which I know I didn't stick strictly to with the wing-back situation, but I think it is different. It's a long season. It's only early days. Just because Kante might be ready, why would we throw him in a situation knowing his track record for overworking himself and getting injured for 5 to 6 games against the team? But it's just bad foresight because we know his history, but equally against this opposition, if this was a cup final or against a big team, you want your best players. But the brutal reality is we're versing a team that this pivot should be more than capable of helping get the job done. So I'd stick with them. It's not a debate for me.
Yeah, 100%, man. I absolutely agree. Okay. This is where it gets so interesting, ladies and gentlemen. The front three is what you guys have all been waiting for. 263 live right now. Smash the like button. Get those likes up to well over 200. You guys have been sticking around the whole show. And the growth of this channel is directly correlated to the likes. Smash the like button if you're enjoying this show. Smash the like button if you enjoy this channel. Smash the like button if you enjoy the content that this channel brings to you on a regular basis. Get it well over 200, number one. And if you're here for the first time, subscribe. Do not leave without subscribing. We are so close to 8,000 now. We are really running wild. So get those subscriptions up. We went mad from 6,000 to 7,000. So we want similar reaction from 7,000 to 8,000 as well. And check out my boys and their socials in the description. RJ with his It's a Football Thing podcast YouTube channel. The link is there. Click on the link. It will take you to the page and you subscribe. And also similarly with his Twitter link, click, go, follow. Similarly with Ishan, Twitter, Instagram, especially the Instagram, please give my man Ishan a follow on Instagram. As you can see, lovely, lovely person to talk to. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the front three. This is where it gets really, really interesting. I'll have a dig first and then see what the boys have to say. We'll leave the striker position for the end. I think that's going to be very interesting. I think the live chat's just going to force us to put Lukaku in there, and just for the vibes. We are here for the vibes as well, ladies and gentlemen. We may just stick with the Lukaku up front, but we'll see what happens. Hakim Ziyech is still, I would say, not fit enough to start. Pulisic is out. So already you've got 2 players gone. So who does that leave us? Mount, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Timo Werner, Kai Havertz. 4 players. And obviously 1 or 2 can play up front as well. But for me, Mason Mount. And this is where it gets really tricky now. It all depends on who I want over here. That will kind of determine who I want here. But Havertz has to start somewhere. Havertz has to
2 players eliminated still is difficult. You see the intensity?
It's still difficult. I can't imagine how Thomas Tuchel does this on a regular basis. Mount for sure, because all the things, he has the ability to drop in here and become a midfielder. His work on the right side against Palace was immense, putting in those early crosses, but especially that drop in and giving us that 3 in midfield and then switching this into a 2. That's where it becomes very, very tasty.
Could swap them around as well.
So what was that, RJ?
You could swap Mount and Havertz around as well, because Havertz is more naturally inclined on the right, whereas Mount's probably a bit more flexible on the left as well, as he's shown previously.
100%. That stays fluid. That absolutely stays fluid. And obviously, undoubtedly, his energy, his pressing, counter-pressing is all going to be very, very big attributes. And let's not forget, under Thomas Tuchel, he's been scoring goals as well. Last season, he's been scoring goals under Thomas Tuchel and assisting. Let's not forget the assist that he produced in the Champions League final. RJ, who are your 2 inside forwards behind the striker?
Well, I would have had, I know it's probably controversial to the chat, but I would have had Havertz up top for non-vibes, but for, let's pretend, let's pretend Big Rom starts up top and gets a hat-trick. Behind Rom, I'm happy to leave Rom up top, but behind him, I would go who you've got. But the reality is what's on screen is what's not going to transpire in terms of what the general ebb and flow of the game is. The reality is both Chilwell and RJ will be largely advanced up the pitch because we will more than likely be in dominance of possession. So that's where it's going to be quite interesting to see the relationship between who's the wing back selected versus those inside forwards. So if it's Mount on the left, Mount and Chilwell have good chemistry. Havertz and Reece James haven't done that much together on the right-hand side, but I think there's going to be a lot of interchangeability between the inside forwards. But equally, as we saw against Crystal Palace, an important part of this whole process was to see how both Kovacic and George connect the dots. Like what we saw against Palace, how many times did we see Azpilicueta, Reece Mount, and Jorginho occupying that top right-hand side, and then Jorginho would make a diagonal switch over to Alonzo because all the attention was on the right-hand side. Mm-hmm. So for me, it just depends on how advanced those 2 midfields can get up the line and what Thomas Tuchel believes the best chemistry is between those inside forwards and the wing-backs he selects. So look, how you've got it is how I'd leave it. Yeah. But my natural pick, I would have put Havertz up top because I know he's done it before and he's worked well with Mount. And I would have started Werner on the left because despite his not so sensational finishing, the reality is he does a lot of work with those runs, and I don't trust the Arsenal back line, especially Murray. If he was to start, I think he would be able to expose a lot of them with his pace in behind. But I can see why people maybe want to now give someone else a run and give Timo a bit of chance on the bench. But I personally think I would start him if you weren't going to use Rom to kick off.
You know what? I think we are going to get absolutely murdered by the live chat if we don't have big Romelu Lukaku up front.
I know.
These guys are asking and begging for Lukaku up front. I mean,
give them what they want.
Yeah, I gotta. You know me. I generally like to keep things very, very objective in this channel, but sometimes I do need to appreciate and give what the fans want. I mean, Ishan, I'll let you talk through this. They did want me to swap Havertz and Mount over, so I've done that for them as well. And look, it's a very, very fluid front three anyway. You're going to see Mount here at times. You're going to see Havertz here at times. You're going to see them swapping and changing. They're not consistently in the one place. You're also going to see at times where Havertz comes in, where this guy drops deep, and Havertz will make those runs to come in. You will see that. Romelu Lukaku, if we go with him, he will drop at times to create those space for Havertz and Mount to attack. He will do that. That's exactly what he does. That's what he's been doing all along, and that's one of his traits. But Ishan, who your inside forwards, my man?
Yeah, I think so. I'll go with the same Mount and Havertz, but I think so. Just let me talk the whole front three, for a minute. I think so. Thomas Tuchel would go with Mount, Havertz, and Werner, and we all might have guessed it, because maybe knowing the fact that if Lukaku's not starting, he might come in the second half. If we assume, then Pulisic is gone, and Havertz, Ziyech is not 100% match fit. So we assume the fact that Mount, Havertz, and Werner are the best three to start, and I agree on that. But I'll give it a little of twist.
Okay.
I'll keep Havertz up top. I'll keep Mount on the left, and I'll keep at the right. I'll keep Callum Hudson-Odoi. I really want this guy.
That is an option as well. That is an option. It really is.
Yeah, I really want this guy to exploit the defense that Arsenal, the shaky defense of Arsenal, and I think so he can with his 1v1 abilities. I think so. Pulisic was really, really important part of this team. If Pulisic was fit, he definitely would have played, because his dribbling skills is very important in terms of just barging into the defense and creating something out of nothing. I think so. Callum Hudson-Odoi is going to be very vital in terms of that, because we all know the fact that Timo Werner is not that best in terms of his dribbling abilities, and especially if you compare that with Callum Hudson-Odoi. So Callum Hudson-Odoi, again, with his combination play with Reece James, or maybe even let's say Azpilicueta, is going to be very crucial, and Hudson-Odoi is going to exploit that defense, the central defense that Arsenal are going to play. So I think so. I would definitely go with this. Also, just talking about the flexibility factor that we are thinking, Hudson-Odoi could, in the mid of the match, he could shift on the left side, where he's more of a flexible player. And that area, is the strength of Callum Hudson-Odoi, where he can also express himself to the fullest. Maybe this is the match where he comes out and really surprises the manager and catches everybody's eyes.
It could be like this.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking. So, just like you said, the front three is always fluidic, and it's always, it's not the constant in the whole match, and we'll be expecting that in the next game as well. But I think so. It's a good chance for Callum Hudson-Odoi, because we know that Arsenal defense are now very, very much vulnerable to get exploited very easily with one-on-one dribbling abilities, and Hudson-Odoi brings exactly that in the team, and I really want to see that. Also Havertz and Mount, with their fluidic nature, the brilliant passes and through balls, can exploit the whole defense line. So I really want this to see, and the second half I would want Lukaku to come in place of Hudson-Odoi and just shift in that number 9 position, and maybe score a couple of goals if he can.
Nah, man, this is a proper shout as well. By the way, Declare, thank you so much for the super chat, my man. Unleash the beast. Look, I will give the fans' favorite lineup down the track. I'm just talking through all sorts of permutation that could happen. This is one permutation that could happen. RJ gave us a permutation that could happen as well. I've provided my sort of... I said that Lukaku will come off the bench, and that's why I was thinking Havertz will be up front. And how I would have gone is really... My formation would have been something like this. And I know a lot of people are going to arm and ah about this, but these two players have worked well together last season. That was going to be my selection, with Mount just behind, more in the midfield area. And then you've got two up front with Havertz and Werner, who've done excellently last season against Real Madrid in the Champions League, even in the final, Champions League final against Man City. These two have done very, very well. Werner's movement is not to be underrated one bit, to be honest. I know he doesn't finish and he's not preferred, to be honest, but if I'm thinking that Lukaku's going to come off the bench, that would be my lineup. You saw what Ishan wanted. He wanted Callum, and he wanted Havertz up front. He wanted Callum and Mount, and RJ sort of asked for Havertz as well up front with Mount and Timo Werner. So more or less my style, but mine was more two up top. We're going to give you guys the fans' favorite, and I know what you guys are all looking for. So we're going to change this up. We've given everyone an opportunity. We've got to give the fans an opportunity as well. And it feels good to write his name as well. It truly, truly feels good. And we need that feel-good factor. And the way I think the fans would want is something like this. Lukaku up top, Havertz just behind with Mason Mount. Once again, Havertz and Mount can switch things around. I mean, RJ, before I go to Ishan, just quickly, I mean, if this was the front three, you're not complaining, are you?
I'm actually hoping that's the front three going forward. I'm just, I'd be surprised if this was the way against Arsenal. But if that's the front three that line up and they can kick it off, then let's unleash the beast, as declared mentioned.
Absolutely. Ishan, if that's the front three on Sunday, there's no way you're complaining.
This is the dream front three, and these guys. If Lukaku starts and if he actually gets going, actually he copes up with the whole chemistry and the whole gameplay. I mean, Arsenal are going to piss in their pants. They're gonna get their pants wet. I mean, this is going to destroy them, and I hope Lukaku, if he starts, he gets that gameplay really quickly and really starts banging in goals left, right, and center. But if he does, it'll be very also interesting to see how does Ziyech cope up with Lukaku and also Mason Mount beside him. It would be very, very interesting to see the combination play of Lukaku and Ziyech as well. So I mean, number of permutation combination that this front three can bring us with the number of options do we have. But Lukaku up front brings a lot of confidence to the team.
100%. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. You've had many different style of lineups. This, I would give it as a fan favorite. A few people are saying, where's Ziyech? Ziyech is still injured, ladies and gentlemen. We're not going to start an injured Ziyech in this match. We're talking about the people that are available. And this seems to be what most of the fans, nearly 250 of you guys, are asking for. Lukaku up top, Havertz and Mount. Not many people are fancying Timo Werner. Some were sort of talking about Callum, but once again, this seems to be the fan favorite. All right, let's now talk about score prediction to finally wrap things up. RJ, I'll go to you. Score prediction, my man.
Yes, I'd love to belt them 6-0 like we did back in 2014, I believe. Do I think we're going to quite reach that climax? I don't, sadly, but I still think we walk away with this with a well-earned 3 points, and I'm going to pencil in a 2-0 victory to the Mighty Blues.
Brilliant. Ishan, your score prediction?
Yeah, I'm going with a 2-0 as well. I think so, yeah. Maybe Lukaku won't start, but I hope he gets the momentum going. He gets some game time, and next time we face these guys, we're gonna batter them 6-0 or 7-0 maybe.
I hope so, man. One of these days, they need to be battered. They need to be absolutely battered by us. But 2-0 from RJ, 2-0 from Ishan. I'm going with maybe a 3-0. I'm going with a 3-0. I know that's a bit of a battering, but I feel like our squad is very talented. Even if Lukaku doesn't start, I think we've got goals. Havertz up front will hopefully produce some goals. So, and the way we played against Crystal Palace, oh my days, if we can emulate that and add another few more notches on top of that, I think 3-0 is not far-fetched at all. And then you've got the likes of, if Lukaku starts, then, then we are really set for 3-0 if Lukaku starts. But then you also have players like Ziyech coming off the bench. So it's very, very interesting. Timo Werner as well, which is going to be quite interesting. Callum Hudson-Odoi. So many plethora of choice. I can see a lot of live chat. Let us know what your thoughts are. Someone said 18-0. I would love that. I would love 18-0. Brent Smith, 4-1 Chelsea. Stevie T, 5-0. Man, the total disrespect to Arsenal. Any Arsenal fans watching this stream, eat your heart out right now. 18-0, 5-1,
They're logged off,
5-0,
man.
4.
They've switched off their phone, man.
Zvogenius 2-0, declared 3-0. I give 2 for Lukaku. Zvogenius 2-0, Willian own goal. By the way, Willian is actually not playing against us, which is quite interesting. Apparently, he's also tested positive. So, yeah. CFC Abbey 4-1. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a wrap. Hope you guys enjoyed that preview. We've gone for a bit of time, but it needed that, I suppose, exposure. We've still got over 200 plus people. Smash the like button, number one. Get those likes up to well over 200. And if you're here for the first time, subscribe. Check out my boys and their socials, please. I cannot stress enough. These boys are always putting the effort. Look at the effort they've done for this particular stream, and they do it on a consistent basis. Please go out there and follow them. That is my sincere request on all of their socials. Please do that. That would be very, very much appreciated. And yeah, get those likes
now,
up.
Also, miss, before you just sign out, big up to your effort. I mean, 2 streams in the span of 4 to 5 hours. Guys, if you head out without smashing the like button, you'll be a sinner for the day. So smash the like button. Don't forget to share it with your friends. And big up to Miss for his wonderful effort.
Don't be a sinner, ladies and gentlemen. That's Ishan just said it. Don't be a sinner. Be a saint. Smash that like button. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall catch you guys tomorrow. Hopefully, RJ will be around as well. Scott will be around. As we said, we'll bring you the preview from an Arsenal perspective, which is going to be a lot of fun, a lot of banter. Do check out for that. We'll figure out the time, but generally I stream, as you know, between 11 a.m. UK to about 1 p.m. UK. So sometime during that time, most likely before the game. I think the Man United game's at 9:30, or well, 12:30 UK time PM. So well before that. So do look out for that. And obviously we'll talk about what's going to happen on the game day. Until next time, everyone. See ya.